Right, welcome back. Last time, not much has changed other than the fact that institutions are continuing to spread across the country again. With manufacturers almost arriving. It's going to take a while. And I've just embraced meritocracy. And having it spread across Europe. Globalized trade is also making its way to me, although it will take a while. As is manufacturers, which will take even longer. Enlightenment is also due to appear soon. 1700 is the point at which it is at least guaranteed to start rolling. And I have almost all the requirements fulfilled. What I only need to do is to get my education level to 60, and then every province with both the university and an art center, as well as Renaissance and casual literacy, which I think should be all of my provinces. Yeah. Okay, so any province with both an art center and a university is accessible for the spawning of the Enlightenment. My only issue is I have no idea what the education levels of the other countries in the world stands, so I'm not able to do anything on that front. Additionally, I have been recently putting a lot of effort into increasing my education level in order to catch up to that point. Of course, I also need to save up money in order to get the next couple institutions embraced once they come around. And then there's also the issue of the fact that I need to deal with my economy too, which is also going to drain money in the process. So I need to do a lot of balancing with my finances again. Right, Russian Imperial Guard. Do they have more pips? 733 347. That is 10 plus 10 plus 7, so 27. Compared to these, that is 26. So the Russian Imperial Guard is just slightly better based on headcount. I also get a new cavalry type. Cavalry shock is awful. It's even worse than, it's a good bit worse than fire. Not even half as good, so they're much better with shock and morale. Guns, of course, should have a focus on fire if I even had a choice, but I don't. Thankfully they do have, well, it doesn't really matter. Everyone is going to have similar artillery types. Alright, I got enough money collected for it, but I don't know when Torzok, Tver, and Brion's I'll get it. Torzok and Tver aren't really major provinces, but Brion certainly is quite valuable, so I'd rather wait until it gets that. I can even check to see how much it's raising it. 450 points. Well, 450 ducats. Whereas the North has 430, but that dev is mostly from rural development because of its absurdly high rural population of over 800,000. It's a really big province in an area that's actually pretty decent for farming. Of course it's going to have a huge rural population. Let's see here. Dimitrov is actually getting pretty close to getting globalized trade. Other provinces is not so much. Mosaic is actually at 80% of that. It's probably going to take a while, isn't it? 1699. I'm not waiting that long. 1696. Yeah, okay. There's not much point in waiting much longer. I'm going to go ahead and price it, especially since it's Going to improve my trading capabilities. And let me research modern lighthouses. Okay then, the modern lighthouse. The ancients had built lighthouses, but few were built in modern history until ships began to cross the ocean. In 1696, which actually hasn't happened yet, the first of a new generation of lighthouses was built in order to prevent merchants from smashing into rocks in the English Channel. So, naval attrition from time is now gone. Quite a few new ship types. Including the Argosy for whoever. Did I get that ship type? No. Okay. Yeah. As well as the level 4 ports. Nice. Okay, Royal Absolutism as well. In 1643, the young king Louis XIV came to the throne in France. Armed with the advice of his counselors, he began to concentrate power in himself and found ways to increase royal power at the expense of the aristocracy. By 1655, King Louis was able to utter his famous word, Lighthouses est moi. C'est est moi? I don't know. I'm not very good at pronouncing French. In 1651, Thomas Hobbes published The Leviathan, a book which suggested that civil war and violence could only be avoided by giving up power to an absolute monarch such as Louis. Soon, rulers across Europe were following his example. Following his example, I've been doing this sort of thing the entire game. Centralizing power around myself. Really, it's quite nice. House. Now we can do this here too. Okay. 99% loyalty, that should minimize unrest from them. Alright. I probably should check to see if I need upgraded ships. Okay, transports can use upgrades. Of course, I'm still not out of the woods yet. I still need to save up money for when globalized trade, not globalized trade, manufacturers is ready to be embraced, which will improve my economy by letting me make more money off of production. Yippee! Enlightenment is actually nice, which reduces tech cost by 10%, gives me a nice extra promoted culture. Amazingly useful, I know. I mean, I've got a gigantic culture group plus the rank in order to just take it for myself as my own culture. One reason or another. Let's grab this before cost gets any worse. In 1665, the world's first scientific journal was published. The Philosophical Transaction of the Royal Transactions of the Royal Society in England and the French journal Des Savants both began systematically publishing research results. This helped to spread scientific advances and encourage scientists to build upon the works others had done, rapidly advancing science in both countries. Extra idea group, and 2 more states. Let's grab trade ideas since I desperately need more merchants. I only have 3, and that's not enough to do everything I want. It's really enough to get Western Siberia to flow towards Rusland, consolidate my control over Rusland, and turn my trade centers in Veliki Novgorod and Pskov, and to a lesser degree Izora, into something actually useful. Which is great because there's a decent amount of cash there. Then you also have a huge amount of cash, but it's mostly flowing towards Poland. A large portion of that, in fact, majority of that is also leaking out towards the V node. There's quite a bit of money around here. North Baltic is poor. Figures. And once I integrate Finland, it's going to become even more poor, as that reduces the amount of trade flowing that way, at the very least. Okay, there's a bank in Moscow. Yeah, that's right. I thought we got trade ideas. I can get banks. Yeah, that's just gonna make this so much more valuable. That point plus 20% of trade power. So that's gonna be an extra 12, 13 or so trade power. Another big buff to urban gravity, although at this point I think my modifier is already at 3. There it is. Nope, it was already at 5, so... Plus production efficiency increase. Woohoo! That's already calculated. Plus an extra unit of tax income. Per year. Plus trade value. It's quite nice that they invested in that. Okay, so they're no longer Karelian now. Palmer culture. Which is still Russian enough for me. Additionally, it seems like this province has now become Finnish culture. I sure hope this province will eventually also join in to that. Especially since now there's only one Karelian province left. Ah ha ha, yay. Well, now I've got the Prussian dynasty on my throne. And I'm about to go into debt. Hooray for loans. At least he's fertile. Alright, 1700. Nothing spawned, so... Okay, I think that's maximum level. Yep, maximum level of fort. Pikes retired. The effectiveness of bayonets and the reliability and availability of muskets meant that dedicated pikemen were now superfluous on the battlefield. Able to only fight in close quarters, the pikemen were simply not as useful as having another gun in the regiment. Soon armies began to phase out their last pike units, resulting in armies made up entirely of musketeers. Doesn't give me any new unit types, but give Western, I don't know, judicial independence. Although the ruler was immune from the law, judges were not. This meant they could be sued or arrested if their judgment turned out to be wrong. A dangerous concept, especially when rulers had an interest in the outcome of a trial. In 1674, judges won immunity from suit in England, giving them immunity from prosecution for their decisions. This was cemented in the 1701 Act of Settlement, which separated the power of the judiciary from the executive and helped justice truly be blind. I also would like to transition from my current monarch to the next one, to the heir as soon as possible, because 511 is not a good ruler. 536 though, that's another story. Act 432 is also it's not great, but it's not bad. So I'm just gonna turn my current ruler into a general and then just have him for maneuver. Okay. That is one of the most awful things I've ever seen. I think there was one time where I saw a general with 1 maneuver pip. But for this late in the game, ouch. I should also look into upgrading all my forts, because my army tradition and unrest reduction will now suffer because of the upgraded fort requirements. So let's get that done as soon as possible. Especially since it's not that expensive to upgrade these things. If once you get that fort there upgraded too, it's probably out you're done, but later. For the moment I need to get things up to the latest level fort, at least important ones, provinces. So the 4. It's my line against Europe and my line against Horde territory. Great, not me. Okay. Bloody, oh god, not down there. Of all the places that had to spawn, it had to spawn in India. Come on, couldn't it have spawned? It would have been better if it spawned in, say, Portugal. It's even farther away from me than it is to Portugal. Maybe not by much, but it's still there, especially since it's a hodgepodge of religions to deal with, whereas over here it's just Christianity, so they're part of the same religion group, so the penalty isn't that big. But here? Great. Oh well. This is gonna be interesting. Okay, that's probably a good time to stop. So, I've gone ahead and embraced globalized trade, so my trade power is now even more... My trade is now even more effective than it was before. So I'm earning more money again. Heck, I can reach all the way to the Korea Strait with all the advances in trade power that I have now. The Moluccas, despite the fact that I don't own anything south of Astrakhan, well, Crimea, not by a long shot. I could reach all the way. I could reach all the way down to South Africa if I knew where the node was. Yeah, reach is no longer an issue at all. The real issue is merchant count. Fact is, there's also the fact that the Rusland node only has one input, the Western Siberia node. And Western Siberia has two inputs, Mongolia and Xinjiang. This is only impacted by the Yangjiang Basin, which is a starter node, so nothing flows into there. Mongolia only gets it from Manchuria, and Manchuria only gets it from the Pacific coast. So yeah, those are the 4 nodes I can actually get push. Those are the 4 other nodes I can actually get money from. At least into the Rusland node. Due to the fact that this is unimportant compared to this massive node. And, well, inland trade bonuses. Probably get Mongolia and Xinjiang, and probably the Yangjiang Basin. I might do Manchuria instead. It depends on how the trade ends up being set up. India's and Persia's just useless. Only reason why to grab some Persians, the only reason to grab Persian territory is to remove some of the flow of trade value from Western Siberia to Persia, instead so that more can go into Rusland. Beyond that, no reason. As far as borders go, colonization continues, I guess. I don't really see much change here. England certainly seems to be focusing more on, occupied by English peasants, on colonizing the trading posts over here. Although only some of them, others not. Probably because they don't see the need. There's very little trade money to be had here at the moment. Simply because there aren't any countries. However, it is the only way to get the riches of India over into Europe, or at least one of the only ways. Another way involves all of this. Over here in the Middle East. And that's not easy access. I'm also in the process of upgrading my forts to the final level. And last but not least, Enlightenment spawned in Sri Lanka. Or Ceylon. Yay! It's gonna take forever to reach me. This will take longer to reach everyone else in Europe. Also, Persia. Yeah. Anyway, I'll see you again next time. This world has gone mad. Yeah, I'll see you again next time. Until then, bye.